Hi, I'm John with SharpenedArtist.com, and this is part 2 of this video drawing this particular mouth with colored pencil on paper. Now in this video, I'm looking for those final touches, trying to just finish up what we started already. And I've not burnished yet, so burnishing, as by way of reminder, just means to polish, is where that root of that word comes from. It just means to push really hard and to cover up any of the white, fill in the tooth of the paper, so cover up any of the white that you're still seeing in the paper. And I'm not really doing that yet because I'm looking for the local color and I'm trying to fill that in. But then I want to reserve just a little bit more of the tooth of the paper so that I can come back in there a final time and modify anything that I want to with a different skin tone if I need to, or something else. Maybe I need for the skin to be a little bit darker in certain areas and a little bit lighter in other areas. And so I want to make sure that I've reserved enough of the tooth that I can do that if I need to. But I'm over here, I've jumped back over here to the left side of the face here, and I'm working in the lighter area again. Now remember from the first video, and if you've not seen that one yet, you can go back and take a look at that one. I'll have the link in the description below. But I started out on the light side of the face and then worked my way over towards the shadows, and we used a lot of blue in the shadows, and that helps deepen and make the shadows more, just more rich and full of life. And you can also use a lot of warm, very warm colors in shadows as well. I think often we don't think about that a whole lot, but yes, we can use a lot of warm colors in shadows. So I want to cover up everything that I've drawn so far with this layer of this brown ochre right now. And another thing that I want to keep in mind whenever I'm doing this, as I progress through here, is I may have reached a point here. I may have, gotten to a point where I'm no longer able to modify something as easily as I could have earlier in the drawing process, and I have to be okay with that. If I realize there's a point of no return, I can't modify maybe the shape or the value of something, then I have to be okay with that, and I want to make my drawing look as good as it can. I'm no longer going to try to make it match the reference when I've reached that particular point. So I'm going to darken then in some of these areas and sort of do some glazing, just glaze over some of the areas with burnt sienna. And now I'm using burnt sienna 10% on the lips. I'm going to fill that in quite a bit. That'll give me a good base coat layer of what those lips really look like. And I'm coming back in there with pink on top of that as well. Using a little bit of white, kind of lightening up some of this. Here's a little tip that I think is a very good one, and that is this ability to create this very sharp point using a sand block and a battery-operated eraser. You can make a little chisel out of that eraser by using that sanded paper, and then come back in here and draw by removing some of the areas that I already put down. So some of these that I want left white, and remember we're working on a very, very small, tiny drawing, just a little study of a mouth. But some of the areas that I want to have in a highlight and want them to be very, very bright, then I can come back in there with this battery-operated eraser and be able to remove some of that back to the white of the paper. And that gives me a really nice look. Some of these final touches in here, it's really my favorite part. I can go back in here now and sort of start adding some contour to the teeth. I can add a lot of brown ochre, Naples ochre, just a lot of yellows and browns to the teeth, and some reds to be able to show some contour. And again, I want to look at the overall color of the mouth itself and the lips. And I just want to make sure that there's some continuity and everything sort of balances together. I don't want something sticking out like a sore thumb, like it's not within the same drawing, like it stands on its own or something. I want to make sure everything looks like it belongs together. And I think that's a big trick with colored pencil or with any art, really, is to make everything appear to be related to itself within the same composition. We could make things look maybe even realistic, but if it doesn't look like it belongs within the same composition, if it looks sort of out of balance, then we're really not convincing the viewer that what they're looking at is something realistic. And really the way to achieve that is one of the simplest ways of thinking about it is to use the same pencils everywhere. If I've used a blue over here in one corner of the face, then I want to make sure I use that blue, that same blue, in all the rest of the areas of the face in some degree, maybe very, very lightly, or not much at all, but at least several other areas of the face. If I've used burnt sienna on one side of the mouth to a certain degree, maybe I've used it 30% over in one area, then I want to use it maybe 5% over on the other side. In other words, I want all of these pencils to work together in harmony, and I want all of these colors to be distributed over the entire area that I'm working in. That's one of the ways, I think, to achieve some continuity in the colors, in the values, and just the overall balance of your piece. Because that's really what art is. Art is achieving that type of balance. There we go. There's our final. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you would like to go ahead and download a one-page guide, well, maybe it's a couple pages, but I'll have a link to that in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that, and if you're ready to learn more about everything we've got going on over at Sharpened Artist, just head on over to the website, sharpenedartist.com. The link will be below in the video description. We also do, for those of you who are on my email list, we do live office hours every single week. I'll see you in the next video.